Ever felt like someone in your life always needs the spotlight or controls every conversation? You might be dealing with a narcissist, but did you know narcissism isn't one size fits all? Today, on Toxic Truth, we're diving into the 4 phases of narcissism and how to deal with each. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to handle the braggart's need for admiration, stand up to the dominator's control, set boundaries with the privileged, and encourage healthier behaviors in the escapist. Stick around because at the end of this video, we'll introduce you to 2 even more dangerous types of narcissists: the hypersexual and the perilous. Understanding these personalities is the first step in protecting your emotional well-being. Ready to learn how to navigate these toxic traits? Let's get started. First up, let's talk about the braggart. This type of narcissist thrives on attention and wants others to envy them. They might be evident in their boasting or come across as sweet and humble with a twist. At the core, the braggart suffers from feelings of inadequacy and unworthiness, though they rarely realize it themselves. They constantly seek approval to fill their internal void, but no praise is enough. To deal with a braggart, it's essential to understand their need for admiration and how to navigate it without feeding their ego. When interacting with them, acknowledge their efforts but avoid over-the-top compliments. For instance, if a friend like Jessica organizes a movie night, you might say, "Jessica, I appreciate that you organized this movie night for us. It's great to catch up." Emphasize acts of thoughtfulness and kindness rather than grandiose gestures. Respond with a sincere but understated acknowledgement, even when they achieve something significant. If Jessica is appointed chair of the hospital's annual fundraiser, you could say, "That's terrific, Jessica, to be working on behalf of such a worthy cause." Understanding braggarts' behavior helps you stay prepared. They might often interrupt conversations to highlight their achievements or steer discussions back to themselves. Next, let's tackle the dominator. This type of narcissist has a deep-seated lack of trust in others and their intentions. They perpetually fear that others will try to control, make fun of, or take advantage of them. Their history of emotional neglect and deep-seated feelings of shame and self-loathing drive them to protect themselves by being judgmental and in control of others. They need you to feel weak, ineffective, and maybe even ridiculous to feel important and influential. Facing a dominator requires a mix of assertiveness and empathy. You must express how their words and actions make you feel while standing your ground. For instance, if Michael, a narcissistic manager, rebukes your work, you might say, "Michael, it's tough and disheartening when you criticize my work in front of the team. I understand you have high expectations, and I want to meet them, but your approach feels harsh and demoralizing. I don't think you intend to come across this way, but it often feels very critical, and it's hard to stay motivated." The dominator might flip into control mode in social settings if they feel neglected. Imagine you're at a party with your partner Alex, who starts dominating the conversation because he feels ignored. You could address this by saying, "Alex, I care deeply about your feelings and don't want you to feel neglected. I understand you might be upset because I've been preoccupied lately, and you need more attention. But you must tell me this calmly, not through yelling and accusations. It's difficult to empathize when you behave this way. It achieves nothing positive in our relationship, and I won't tolerate it anymore." When dealing with a dominator, avoiding the usual temptations, giving in, apologizing, counterattacking, or retreating is essential. Instead, empowered by your inner strength, you can speak and act with authenticity. It's about standing firm and not letting their controlling behavior diminish your self-worth. Now, let's move on to the privileged. This type of narcissist believes they can make their own rules and deserve to have whatever they want. They act as if they are superior and should be treated differently. They don't adhere to the concept of give and take, struggle to hear no, and rarely feel remorse for their pushy and demanding behavior. They lack interest in others' feelings and cannot appreciate or understand the value of empathy. Do you know someone who always expects special treatment and can't handle no? Dealing with a privileged individual involves setting firm boundaries and maintaining your ground. For example, suppose your friend David shows up 35 minutes late to dinner without calling. In that case, you might say, "David, it's frustrating when you change plans at the last minute without letting me know. It feels like my time doesn't matter to you. I understand you're used to having flexibility, but it's important to consider how your actions affect others. Let's talk about rescheduling when you can commit fully." It's crucial to communicate the reality to the privileged calmly and collectedly. Avoid getting angry or frustrated, as this can often escalate the situation. Another strategy is to remind them of the value of mutual respect. Lastly, let's explore the escapist. This type of narcissist is an avoider in denial who can't bear the awareness of their misery, shame, and detachment when alone with themselves. They'll cover these feelings up with overwork, drinking binges, compulsive shopping, or excessive online activity. They may get caught up in telling a story that lasts forever, not to gain attention, but to avoid that aching throb of their emptiness and frailty. Do you have someone who always seems to be avoiding reality? The escapist can be particularly challenging to deal with because their avoidance tactics often lead to emotional absenteeism. You might reach out, but they don't respond. They can't risk being seen in their vulnerable state with all their emotions, needs, and longings exposed. You're expected to accommodate their selective emotional absences without demanding their presence, no matter the emotional cost to you. When dealing with an escapist, remember that their behavior isn't a personal dismissal and isn't your fault. You must act with healthy entitlement to address your needs because the relationship means something. For example, suppose your narcissist is a work-absorbed wife named Emily. In that case, you might say, "Emily, I know how important your career is to you, and I truly admire your dedication. However, I miss spending quality time with you, and I'm worried you're overworking yourself. Can we find a way to balance your career and our time together? This is important to me, and I think it would help us both feel more connected. If we can't find a solution independently, we should consider talking to a professional." Another approach is to acknowledge their coping mechanisms while gently encouraging healthier habits. If Emily spends every evening glued to her phone, you might say, "Emily, I notice you spend a lot of time online after work. I understand it's a way for you to unwind, but I miss our conversations. Can we set aside some time each evening to talk and reconnect?" Escapists often struggle with emotional intimacy, so it's crucial to create a safe and non-judgmental space for them to open up. Patience and consistency are key. Celebrate small victories, like when they choose to engage rather than retreat. For instance, if Emily joins you for a walk instead of staying home, acknowledge it positively. "I'm glad you decided to come with me. It's nice to spend time together." However, it's also essential to maintain your emotional health. In summary, dealing with an escapist requires a balance of empathy, patience, and firmness. By understanding their avoidance behaviors and gently encouraging healthier interactions, you can foster a more connected and fulfilling relationship. Remember, it's about finding a balance that respects their needs and yours. Stay compassionate, set clear boundaries, and prioritize your well-being. You've now been introduced to the 4 faces of narcissism: the braggart, the dominator, the privileged, and the escapist. Understanding these personalities is the first step towards managing these challenging relationships. Remember, dealing with narcissists requires a combination of empathy, assertiveness, and self-care. Have you experienced any of these types of narcissism in your life? Your goals should be to start having a positive impact, witness and feel your healthy inner protector in action, and begin to set the boundaries and consequences you need. It's important to stay grounded and protect your emotional well-being. Each type of narcissist requires a tailored approach. Still, the common thread is maintaining your sense of self and not getting entangled in their manipulative behaviors. Don't forget to watch our next video, where we dive into the hypersexual and perilous narcissists, two even more dangerous types to be aware of. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit from it. Thank you for watching Toxic Truth, and we'll see you next time.